Today, I'm going to be going over a condensed version of how to write a proper CER. CER stands for claim, evidence, and reasoning, and put together, it makes a proper lab conclusion. For the purposes of this video and us making a CER together, we need to have an investigation to base our conclusion off of. We'll be using this guiding question for our example. Will a 20-minute nap alter heart rate? This investigation was completed, and here are the results. On average, the before heart rate was around 80 beats per minute. And then after a 20-minute nap, it decreased and dropped down to around 68 beats per minute. So we definitely saw a decrease in heart rate. You can also see it on this graph here. You're going to use the data table and graph from your investigation to write your conclusion. First up is the C, which stands for claim. Your claim is one simple sentence that answers your guiding question. It's one statement about what was concluded, but it does not start with yes, no, or I think, and it should state the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Once again, our guiding question was, will a 20-minute nap alter heart rate? And our data table showed that it did. It in fact decreased. So let's take a look at our claim. A proper claim for this investigation would be, taking a 20-minute nap will lower the average heart rate. It's one simple sentence, it answers the guiding question, contains both variables, and gives an overall conclusion. After the claim comes E for evidence. Evidence is super important, and this is where we're going to talk about our data that supports our claim. You must include both qualitative and quantitative data. So I usually make mine have two sentences. We want to make sure not to restate the data and simply throw a bunch of numbers at our readers, but we want to show a difference or change. For evidence, this is where your data table and also your graph are going to come back into play. Here's a proper evidence that we can conclude from our investigation. After subjects participated in a 20-minute nap, the average heart rate decreased by 22 beats per minute. Upon waking up, the subject seemed well rested and calm. So our first sentence gives a little background into the investigation, but overall it includes our quantitative data, that it decreased by 22 beats per minute. And then, of course, the second sentence mentions our qualitative data, that during the investigation, they noticed that the subject seemed well rested and calm. Now that we've done our claim and our evidence, it's time to move on to the R, which stands for reasoning, or the reason why. This is the reason why things happened the way they did. It justifies the evidence and explains it using scientific principles. Sometimes reasoning might take a little longer because research is needed here, making sure that we're using appropriate articles that are found in Mac and VIA. We have to do research to better understand why things happened the way they did. For our investigation and for our reasoning, we need to better understand why a nap would lead to lowering your heart rate. After a little research, here's what we found. This is a proper reasoning when it comes to a conclusion. While resting, the body is not hard at work, and therefore the muscles do not need as much oxygen. The oxygen is provided from the blood, which the heart pumps, so the heart can work less. In conclusion, heart rate will decrease when napping. Notice how the reasoning explains the way things were using science, and the last little bit relates back to our claim and ties everything all together. So let's recap. Our guiding question was, will a 20-minute nap alter heart rate? We found that it did, and it decreased. Here's a proper CER or conclusion all put together. Taking a 20-minute nap will lower the average heart rate. After subjects participated in a 20-minute nap, the average heart rate decreased by 22 beats per minute. Upon waking up, subjects seemed well rested and calm. While resting, the body is not hard at work and therefore the muscles do not need as much oxygen. The oxygen is provided from the blood, which the heart pumps, so the heart can work less. In conclusion, heart rate will decrease when napping. So altogether, that's a C, an E, and an R. Now you have this video that you can always refer to and an example that you can always look back on. So hopefully this helped. And remember that writing a conclusion isn't tough as long as you have what you need and you follow our clearly written steps. Thanks for watching.